you know what, there were kind of two options for her. And it was like, okay, put the baby up for adoption or get an abortion because you're 17, you have the whole world ahead of you. You're with somebody that we know is not, my mom liked bad boys. My dad was a bad
Mhm.
boy, right? So this isn't going to work out for sure. And a parent's perspective, that you can see that a mile away and trying to have the right thing for your child. And my mom kind of was a rebel. She was always a rebel. And she was like, you know what? I'm going to choose option C, which is maybe you never talk to me again, but this is going to work out and everything's going to be good. And it didn't. And so I think for somebody, to have all of that and feel like they're alone, especially during a traumatic situation where you don't have your family support and you don't have your spouse's support, and it's kind of you with two little kids in tow. It's really brave to raise children on your own, especially at that age, and then kind of, take off to another province and just start fresh. So
Welcome to Meet the Onôtinikêwak, a podcast where we sit down with Indigenous people who are making a positive impact in their communities and beyond. From activists and artists to entrepreneurs and community leaders, these warriors share their wisdom, their experience, and their perspectives on a wide range of topics. Hey Geena, it's great to have you on here. I've seen you around a lot on social medias and TV and things like that, but then I was in that Trailblazer Summit. You're emceeing it, and it was like, oh my gosh, I got to talk to this lady. So hunt you down, chase you down, and now I got you here, which is awesome. But I do this with everybody. It just maybe talk about how you grew up, where you grew up, and a little bit about your family.
sure. Thanks for having me. And it was really nice to meet you at the Trailblazer Summit. Love Reg Potts. It's amazing to participate in an Indigenous led conference. Reg has spent his life trying to put people and network people together. So I put my hands up to him for introducing me to so many new people, seeing some old faces and meeting new ones like yourself. Uh, my name is Geena Jackson Montgomery. My traditional name is Cetacia. I'm a proud member of the Seashell Nation on the Sunshine Coast in British Columbia. Um, I am of mixed heritage, as you can see or hear. I grew up. My mom is not in. She's not Indigenous. She is of English descent. Um, Grown up here by four generations on the Sunshine Coast, and my dad is Indigenous from the Seashell Nation. So have honor both cultures, and really lucky to be a part of both. I'm love my families and never grew up on the reserve. My mom and my dad broke up. My mom had me when she was 17, so that's not exactly the age to succeed in a relationship. So she had me when she was 17. She had my brother when she was 18, and then my parents split up when I was about 3. We moved to Winnipeg and grew up there, and then moved back to BC when I was about 11. Went to Kelowna, grew up on Vancouver Island, and really got introduced to my family when I was about 16 years old. My parents split up because of domestic abuse and just bad systemic situations that occur within our communities on a regular basis, and very hard for my mom to go back into see my dad. I just wanted to see what he looked like, who he was. He was never involved in our life, and so welcomed with open arms to my family in Seashell when I was 16. I'm now 55 years old, and very close with my family from the very beginning, and spent a lot of time in Seashell, and just a really really proud member of that, and grew up. It's interesting because you think about the residual effects of being a product of having a mom who's a product of domestic abuse. She lived in a pretty middle class family and was brought into that situation, and how it sort of affected my brother and I. I have a great brother. His name is Shane Jackson, and I have a little sister by the name of Shayla Jackson. And my brother and I are full with my dad, and just how that situation affected my brother and I, just abuse and just alcoholism and things like that we medicate ourselves with when we go through trauma, right? And I think that's a big story of a lot of people in community. So with that, we became very resilient early, and became entrepreneurs from a very early age, because we really had to had to support ourselves and be a lot more mature. My mom lived her childhood when she had children, so she kind of went back and diverted to having that life. So we became very resilient and adversarial, to challenge. So that's kind of me. I grew up in Vancouver Island, and then I moved back to Vancouver. After graduation, and then I went to go live in Greece for a year, and loved it. I think traveling is the best thing you can do, and then came back and pursued broadcast journalism. That was my goal. My life has shifted from there. I didn't end up being a. I wanted to be a TV personality, but ended up following another path and going into management and communications and hospitality and what have you, and then coming back and working for the Squamish Nation. I filled in for somebody for 6 months, Chief Leanne Joe, a great individual, hereditary chief from the Squamish Nation, Chief Leanne Joe. She left for 6 months to go on a mat leave, and she never ever came back. So I stayed with the Squamish Nation for 13 years, and my portfolio was to support entrepreneurs either starting their business or expanding their existing businesses, impact benefit agreements, all sorts of stuff. So in a nutshell, that's kind of where I grew up, where I came from, how my career kind of morphed. You never know what you're going to pursue. And then full circle, working for the Squamish Nation, doing a TV show, which I know we're going to talk about later, and then giving back to community. I think when I became a broadcast journalist and graduated, it was more, I was in my 20s. It was kind of like, I find the 20s, you're kind of me years, me, 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 me. This is about me. And in my 50s, it really becomes about everybody else, right? It's your legacy years. So,
Oh man, there's so much there. I've thank you for that. I'm learning a lot. I've normally I try to interrupt people all the time, but I always get in trouble. So I've been working on that, and there's so many spots in there I want to interrupt you or say something stupid. But anyway, there's a lot. So I got a couple questions just based off of those. Certainly with your mom, I know I've hit this with myself too. Of at a certain age, kind of finding that relationship and not so much the she's always my mom, love her to death. She's my mom, but that mom son thing, and there's now it's more of like a lot of friendship in there as well, and some common ground, and uh, certainly now too at the age I'm at is when I was being raised in those early years, and seeing, just knowing, right, like trying to grow up. I'm trying to grow up myself, and the things that she went through, and I understand a lot more now. I have a lot more empathy and a lot more grace with a lot of things that she went through, and a lot of pride too. I'm really proud. Looking back, I'm like, holy cow, like you did really well with what you had, right? And all things considered, I mean, it wasn't certainly a lot of bumps in the road, but just to pull through and make it out is pretty amazing at the same time. But um, what type of relationship do you have with your mom now, if you don't mind me asking?
oh, and unfortunately, my mom passed. She passed when I was 32 years old. She died of skin
Mm.
cancer. So both my parents are passed. I had a, I was angry, right? It was when you say that you realize that I think when you're hitting your 30s, you realize that your parents did the best that they could with what they had at the time, right? And when you're a teenager and you don't have a lot of control, and there are sometimes bad decision or poor judgments affect the way that you live or your siblings live or your social level or whatever it may be, that you think it's selfish and that you think, and I mean, it was that way for me. I just thought, I'm raising myself, I'm raising my brother, I'm raising, we're becoming our own people, and you're kind of going through your own thing right now. But I mean, she had just trauma after trauma after trauma happened to her, and just based on poor decisions, based on addiction and poor decisions. And I think I was really angry. And then I think when I got into my 30s and started to be more of an adult, I realized, and particularly I think when people have children of their own, they realize, like, holy, now I have to like look back at my parent and think to myself, you know what, you had me when you were 17 years old. Your non-Indigenous side of the family was absolutely against this was, you know what, there were kind of two options for her. And it was like, okay, put the baby up for adoption or get an abortion because you're 17, you have the whole world ahead of you. You're with somebody that we know is not, she, you know, my mom liked bad boys. My dad was a bad
Hmm.
boy, right? So this isn't going to work out for sure. And a parent's perspective, you know, that you can see that a mile away and trying to have the right thing for your child. And my mom kind of was a rebel. She was always a rebel. And she was like, you know what? I'm going to choose option C, which is maybe you never talk to me again, but this is going to work out and everything's going to be good. And it didn't. And so I think for somebody, you know, to have all of that and feel like they're alone, especially during a traumatic situation where you don't have your family support and you don't have your spouse's support, and it's kind of you with two little kids in tow. It's really brave to raise children on your own, especially at that age, and then kind of, you know, take off to another province and just start fresh. So I think that I had a lot of anger and a lot of resentment. So not anymore. Not
Yeah,
anymore.
and
But when
with
I was 30, so when I was 30, my mom died when she was 32, and we found out she was sick. She got sick when she was 44. She got diagnosed with skin cancer. Wear sunscreen, everybody. Um, and it was just that kind of thing. Like, you know what? We're not going to be here forever, so we have to realize that you carry so much of a burden with everybody else's burden. It's just like piled up trauma is, and that's what we are as residential school survivors, right? The our Even though I didn't go, my family went, my aunties, my uncles, and everything, and it's like trauma based on trauma based on trauma, and it's this residual effect. And when people think that because you didn't go to residential school that you're not affected by it, is crazy, right? It's generational, systemic, reactivity to it. So yeah, unfortunately, my
oh,
mom didn't we bonded and then she was gone. So a little too late.
right. No, I understand. Yeah, I feel you on that one. When you say that, when you say not anymore too, have you gone a little bit traditional too? Have you done some different healings with different people, or what does that look like for your life, Geena?
Yeah, I think so. I think growing up, you know, when your impactful years, or when you are usually about 14 years old is your impactful year, right? That's the impactful years. It's your taste in music. It's your kind of your sense of style. You start looking for your true core values of who you are as a person. And those are really impactful years. And we'll get into why the kids camp that we do are so important at that age. Um, but I think that going back into community and being part of ceremony, being like accepted with open arms, there's no judgment, and being able to see our culture has really been medicine for me. Um, I don't look Indigenous, right? I always thought that, and it's funny because I forget that I don't. And sometimes when I talk to people and I say our people or our culture or what have you, it's just like they kind of look at me like, what do you mean your culture? Like, what do you mean your culture? You mean like Swedish culture because I'm blonde, because I'm, you know, what do you mean? And then I forget sometimes that I don't look the way that I come out, my skin color is, right? I feel my blood quantum isn't 100%, it's 50%, but I feel that I just feel that the values that we incur, whether you are Métis, whether you are on like 2% Indigenous and you're embedded in your community, everything is healing, everything is culture. So it has really helped me get grounded. Having elders tell us about ceremony and about pride and core values, and valuing the land, valuing our language, valuing our community is really important to me. And I've threaded that through my entire business model of everything that I've done.
Oh, okay. That makes tons of sense. And then maybe along those same lines too. So you mentioned earlier, like your um, cetacea. Where did Was that given to you? Where did that come from?
Yeah, so it's kind of a funny story, and so in Coast Salish culture, and a lot of cultures are different, but out here in Coast Salish culture with the Seashell Nation, and it's very similar with Squamish as well. Um, when we get a name, we are given a name from our ancestor, and it's handed down to us, and we're gifted that name by the community or by the by the cultural leader. So for our family, it's Stephen Feschuk, which is my cousin. My uncle Gary is the head of our family. So Cetacia is my great grandmother's name. It she was a boss. She's like she was amazing within the community. So when we were given my name, I was given my name about 10 years ago. You earn a name. You're not just like given it like John Jr. or John Jr. Jr. You're not just given it by generational, here you go. You have to earn it, and they choose names based for you. So my auntie Mabel, who just passed last year, she asked me if I would share her name, Cetacia, 10 years ago. And I said, yeah. And she said, it means providing for the community. So, and I thought, wow, that's pretty serendipitous because I do. That's why I've dedicated my whole life. She said, like providing the community with fish, with berries, with like knowledge, with what have you. That's what this means. So it was a really significant name to me. About 4 years ago, my auntie Mabel got put into a home just for health reasons. And then she phoned me up and she said, "Hey, Geena, do you know what cetacea means?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it means providing for the community." And she was joking. She goes, "No." She goes, I think it just means bossy." And I started laughing. I'm like, my husband started laughing too. He's like, "It means bossy." Well, that makes sense too, right? And I'm a big like delegator. I'm also a big, I like to run things the way that I like to run things. So my husband's laughing, but yeah, that's what it means. It means providing for the community, but we like to just call it boss.
Well, it's extremely fitting, even just in the bit that I've known you. Yeah, no, that's amazing. That's awesome. That's a great name. Um, I haven't felt the wrath of the bossy part yet too much, so I'm good on that side of things.
Yeah.
But let's so there's my therapy session for you, or my getting deep on you. But yeah, we'll switch gears a little bit too with Bears Lair. So and the Indigenous business and everything that comes with that. But um just look at like it's such a strong platform now, right? And seeing the amount of people, I doing some research on it, and just seeing the amount of people that get touched by it. And I never watched I've never watched Dragon's Den and stuff, but like the stories behind it and the passion, the people, the amount of lives that it touches, and um yeah, it's pretty wild. But like what kind of inspired you, or what was the thought process behind like creating that and running with that?
Well, you know what? I'm a big fan of the Dragon's Den. I'm a big fan of the Shark Tank. I always think it's exciting to watch. I was teaching an entrepreneur class at the Squamish Nation. So my portfolio was helping entrepreneurs, but we used to give out grants and make sure that there's no crabs in the bucket or lateral violence of like, this person got money and I'm a better carver and this person doesn't deserve it. They're going to, pawn their equipment or whatever. I wanted to really shift that and really support entrepreneurs. And there's plenty for all of us. There is plenty, like the gatekeepers, the silo keepers, like there's plenty for all of us. But I wanted to show everybody in a class what entrepreneurism from the beginning. What are the fundamentals of entrepreneurism? Being a risk taker, what do you need to start? What have you? So I leveled the field. I got and then I provided daycare and I provided catering so everyone could be there at 6 o'clock at night. You don't have to make your money, you don't have to make dinner, and you don't have to watch your kids. We got it. Stay here for 3 hours. So on the second class, I said, this is what an elevator pitch is. An elevator pitch is something that you will talk about for 2 minutes. And it pretty much it's a hook. It gets what people interested in your business. Um, so I showed the Dragon's Den and the Shark Tank. I said, this is an example of an elevator pitch. And so the elevator pitch is really profound. And then all of a sudden the judges start, right? They start talking about your business. Now there is no secret to the model of a reality TV show with contestants. Number one, there is a contestant that shines like a diamond. Number two, there's a contestant that has a profound emotional story that you're tied to, what we call an underdog. And then there's the third one is someone that has zero business being there, right? It's supposed to take you through this roller coaster of wow to, oh my God, I hope this person gets it, to what the F are you doing here? Like you have no idea about business and you're asking $1 million. Like So we're, as humans, where do we divert to? We divert to the negative. We're like, oh, we divert to the thing that stirs up the most emotion or whatever in us, right? So it's like this person has no business being there. And then Mr. Wonderful or whoever it is berating to those individuals about, like, are you kidding? So that's what happened. And I watched the body language of my class change. The whole energy shifted. So as Indigenous people, with being beaten down, with having barriers with financial literacy, with having a really bad relationship with money. That's where we always like, that's where the numbers start going and getting when Mr. Wonderful's like, how can you like do this? And what are your performance? And what are your da da da? And I could see the whole class get like, no, I don't want to do this now. So at the end of the class, I had a few people saying, I don't think I want to go into entrepreneurism. I know nothing about financials. I know nothing. And I'm like, I'm just showing you a video. Like, we're going to get into this in the eighth class. We're going to get into performance and all that kind of stuff. And it's going to make sense because I'm going to teach you. But what I saw, what I thought to myself when I went home that night is, why isn't there a TV show like the Shark Tank or Dragon's Den, but for Indigenous people? Why isn't there something that is uplifting where it really we talk about co-opetition opposed to competition? Why don't we have a show where there's no ownership or creativity taken, that sponsors that talk about reconciliation can really walk their talk and support a program like this? And then also we can have some coaching before the audition so that we can maximize the confidence of those entrepreneurs. I had the whole business model in my head. And then whoever was listening, I would tell them, you work for CBC? I've got this great idea. Take it. CTV, got this great idea. Take it. You work for anybody I knew in the business. I'm like, what do you think about this? I have the whole business model. Take it. I had no intention of becoming an executive producer or starting a TV program on my own. I graduated broadcast journalism 30 years ago. Like, things have changed a bit since then. And there's no way, but nobody was doing it. COVID hit, had a little bit of extra time on my hands, wrote the treatment for it, the whole program, and then gave it to APTN. APTN said, that's good. We've never done a reality TV show before. If you get the money, we'll give you a TV show. And it was at that time, the budget was about $500,000. It rose up to about $750,000, raising that money during a pandemic. And I said, well, I can't sell a show that I don't have and get people to pencil and earmark money for the potential of something that may happen that doesn't have any data or any, return on investment for the sponsors. So came up with a sponsorship document, got a short form contract from APTM, which means that we'll give you a show, just show us the money. We're giving you a show, get the money. And so we raised all of the money. We had season one go to air in September 2022. We filmed in 2021 during a pandemic. And then we filmed season two in 2023 during a writer's strike. I'm waiting for season three to have like a tsunami or something. But we did it. The season two was $1.6 million. And on. So, I mean, it's being an executive producer. I've done everything that I tell people not to do. Don't go into business if you don't have any experience. Don't go into business unless you have some like plan B of some money coming in or you have some savings. Don't go in unless you know the right people to network. Like, I threw it all out and just did a regular entrepreneur passion project, and it was a lot. It's a lot of work, but we came up with some great products, and subsidiary to that, we created the kids entrepreneur camps, which has superseded the programming tenfold.
Absolutely, and we'll get into that. The only question I really had on the going back to the Bears, like that's an amazing story and the creation story for sure. Is there anything that stands out? I know you mentioned like that, you have the three players or the key personalities and everything varies off of that. But is there a certain like person or story or even a pitch, right? Like was there something that stands out or really sticks with you now? That was a few years ago now.
You know what? I think that the reason why I started this program is because I've helped over 900 entrepreneurs. It is by no coincidence that every single person, and I mean every person that I've ever worked with, um, has a story, has a story of either trauma or facing adversity for one. They've created business, but they've created businesses to give back to their community. And whether it is creating a product with Devil's Club for arthritis so that they can help the elders, and now they put it like national prime time, whether it is to support their family, whether it's to employ nation members to clean up the community, to provide better water, to support like an elder society, whatever it is, every single person in the fabric of their business model is giving back. I wanted to tell that story. And everybody is emotional about it. I always say Chief Gibby Jacob, and I'm going to quote him. He's a hereditary chief for the Squamish Nation. He's an incredible human, my mentor. He always says, before you tell me what you do, tell me why you do it. So before you even tell me that you have a construction company or you have a earring company or you make Bannock or whatever it is, tell me why you do it. And then people get really emotional when they hear it, because sometimes we're so focused on the end game. We're it's hard to see the forest through the trees, right? You just like you're so laser focused. And we asked every single contestant in season 1 and season 2 this. Tell us your why before you tell us your what. And everybody got emotional. They were just like, oh my God, well, because I want to keep on the traditions of my grandparents, because I want to educate people about our language, because I want to break through the barriers and provide people opportunities. Our people are opportunities, because I want to feed, because I want to change the language, like spectrum, whatever it may be. And I found that really profound. And that was my why, was why do you want to do a program that is like this, but is this, it's not a cookie cutter of a Shark Tank or a Dragon's Den. It really is telling our stories as people and collaborating. Um, Everybody is special. There's a couple people like the winners, right? So season 1, Agritech North, they have vertical food systems that that grow vegetables. And although that's not unique for leafy greens, they do peppers and they do strawberries and they do tomatoes. And then they're partnering with the drone company where they can deliver 800 pounds of food to northern communities that are only available by plane or boat, so that the community members, like Fort Chip, I was just in Dave Tuckero, one of my judges, his community, you can only get things in by plane or boat. So 800 pounds of vegetables where you can get lettuce for not $10, but what you and I are paying here, in Vancouver, which is $10 because Vancouver's is bring cash. But but instead of paying $2 for Doritos and then go looking at the Doritos for $2 and looking lettuce for $2, like there's ways that we can feed our families and provide that opportunity. So their why was so they could provide more nutritious foods to communities that were northern, that didn't have the opportunity to do it, to decrease diabetes, to decrease obesity, et cetera, et cetera. So they won. Like, sorry if anyone hasn't watched
Mhm.
season 1, but they're amazing. Chelsea Pettit she's from Ontario, and she won season 2. She promotes other entrepreneurs. She made the first Indigenous department store in Toronto for 4 months, and I think her sales were $5 million, and she put it all on the line. And I've heard the backstories of these individuals, but behind all the onion layers of these success stories are struggle, 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 the same struggles today that existed 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Access to capital, resources, education, and also supporting each other and elevating each other. Not pulling each other down, because we can be our own the worst enemies within community. We really need to push each other up and rise up. And that was my why was starting the show.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Because that's always what I ask people now. I sound like this old guy now all the time. I bug people and they don't get my humor most days. But it's always like, what do you want to do, right? It's always, what do you want to do? And it's most everybody that I meet always says, I want to help people, right? And it's like, well, how do I do that? So this is amazing that it's really important work what you're doing, because you're finding those avenues of how to help people, right? And each person's so unique and has their own story and has their own abilities and talents and different things that can bring it, and that's what you're really showcasing. So that's amazing. That's awesome what you're doing, and coaching in the background too. So that's the big part is there's so many amazing stories, but they all die at the delivery because a lot of people, no matter who you are, but a lot of Indigenous are quite shy and so used to we're so used to being let down or negativity and just not even worth trying, right? And that's where it gets really difficult. And I've met where I come from too, a lot of really good hockey players in an era, and a lot of them would go leave home but come home in 2 weeks and kind of give that all up, and not because they weren't good enough or they're really great, but just homesick or come up with an excuse to come home because they just couldn't handle the pressure of possibly letting people down or something like that, right? And there's so much more to that, but it's pretty crazy. But um with you, and you did mention it before too, right? The bit of a spin-off from the Bears, like it's having those youth camps, and that's big on me too. And that's where I always sound like a creep when I say it to some people, I'm like, we got to get him young, and it's like, what are you talking about? It's like, no, it's more on it's like with STEM fields and education and showing people what they can do. But with these camps, like what are you going in there, like what are you teaching, and what does that look like?
So when I did those adult courses, because I provided daycare for the kids, we had kids that would come and sit with their parents for one class or two classes. But by my fourth class, we had 17 kids attend the class. And they sat through the entire cohort of this class. And when I said, can anyone tell me what target market is? Looking out, every single youth put their hand up. And I was just like, okay, no adults put their hands up. No adults were answering questions. My PowerPoint was failing. I had an 8-year-old come and check it out and help me. They came in with great attitudes. In fact, they elevated. Energy is something really interesting when in a room, because I teach kids all the time. There can be one bad energy and it's like so cancerous to everybody, but they brought bright and light to every single class. And what did it hit me, that these kids are absorbing information way faster than we are as adults. They're way more technically savvy. They just have those minds for it. It's like a beautiful mind, right? They just like see things differently than we do. And they don't have the triggers or barriers we have as adults. So these onion layers of trauma, of having and specifically when it comes to business, right? Having a bad business deal, losing a business and a business failing, having a bad business partner, whatever it may be. These kids have never been there, so they don't know. You don't fear what you don't know, right? So I had the first kids camp in 2015, nothing to do with the Bears Lair, but based that model on the infrastructure of that, and then took the Bears Lair core values and ideals into that. So we go into community. It's either sponsor based or we're having communities. It's before it was just sponsor based. It was it was the Capital Powers, the Shell Canadas, the Fortises, whoever it is that Rio Tintos, where it's affected, capital projects are affecting the territory of these certain nations or groups, and then they will gift a kids camp to come in, where we can teach up to 30 kids about entrepreneurship in a 3-day interactive experiential camp experience. Choose a business. What's the business? We play a lot of games, core values, creating mottos, mission statements, logos, defining target markets, creating a marketing plan to attract that perfect customer, startup costs, operational costs, learning to shake hands, social confidence, financial literacy, media training, presentation skills, public speaking, all of that in a 3-day camp, where 30% of it is games. And threaded in it, of course, is social impact, profit with purpose. How are you giving back to community when we choose our business? And it is the most phenomenal program. It's my proudest moment is what we're doing right now. We have been to 55 different communities as of yesterday. Just went to Lower Nicola Indian Band, thanks to Tech Resources. But we have been to the Yukon, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, BC, of course, Ontario. We're going to Northwest Territories. We're creating a French speaking team that is going to be able to go to one of the 51 French speaking communities in Quebec, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick, so that we can take this nationwide and really teach the youth of tomorrow. And so here's two really interesting statistics that nobody really knows, and most people are surprised. Is that 50% of all Indigenous youth across Canada, nation to nation, province to province, are under the age of 25. 50% of Indigenous people. So, and a pocket of those people, the majority of that statistic is between the ages of 14 and 18 years old. So these are the leaders of tomorrow. These are the ones that if we educate them, if we give them social confidence, if we allow them those skills, soft skills and business acumen that are going to make impactful decisions that are going to impact the next generation or 7 generations. They're going to take care of us. They're going to take care of our elders, and we will be elders soon, and so on and so on. So, and it's about kindness. It's about lateral kindness, and it's just about teamwork and working together. So nations themselves, Cold Lake, Alberta, just phoned and booked a camp yesterday. So we're having nations that are just bringing us in. They're like, we don't care about the sponsors. We just want you to come into community. And so going into community and being in a trusting, encouraging space, and our team being certified coaches, going in and being guests in the community, but being there embedded for 3 days solid. And then we have a graduation ceremony the fourth night. It's just celebrating the achievements of the kids. We make videos, we make pitch videos. The kids get to see themselves on the big screen, and we invite friends, family, leadership. We procure a caterer within the community. We inject funds back into the community. We usually have about 100 to 150 people at the graduation ceremony, and you've never seen so much pride. Our communities only get together for 2 reasons, and straight across the board. We get together for funerals, we get together for AGMs, and that is all, right? That's when everyone comes in and says, okay, we need to go. And that is people are sad or people are mad, right? There's always going to be diversity when it comes to making decisions for AGMs. There's always going to be a common emotion of sadness when it comes to the funerals, but when it comes to the kids, pride, happiness, excitement, opportunity. It's the only thing that you can put in a community where people are going to come together and walk out feeling full. Their hearts are full. Their future is bright, and it's an incredible thing. And it's the best thing we've ever done. We've taught 1,800 kids now in 2.5 years, and we are growing.
Holy cow. I feel like no, I was gonna say could run through a wall. I feel excited by that pitch. Good pitch. I wanna do this. I wanna be a student.
Well, and
That
that's the
one
most
too. We'll yeah.
that's the most. Oh, sorry, one thing, but that's the most common thing that we hear is, I wish I had this when I was younger. From leadership, from teachers, from sponsors, from parents, from aunties, from everybody. I wish I had this when I was younger.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm so happy that you're providing this and it's coming from a good place, right? And doing it the right way and not from a place of lack, right? Like not trying to come up with this idea and just like, oh man, we got to sell this and we're worried about money here and worried about money there. Like it's coming from a great place where that's not the thought, right? It's only the outcomes that they're it's beautiful. I love it.
Thank you.
That is great. I wish I had that when I was a kid. Uh, I'll be mindful of your time. So with that, all the things you're juggling. So you're doing all that, your entrepreneurship. Like I said, I seen you emceeing and public speaking and community work and everything else. Like how does Geena, like how do you stay grounded? How do you take what do you take care of yourself? How do you take care of yourself?
Oh my God, my therapist ends with that every single time of our session. What are you doing for Geena? What are you doing for Geena? What are you doing for you? Balance. Um, I think that, everything that I'm doing right now fills my heart. I think when you're in your 20s, you're finding yourself. It's like your kind of introspective years. You're trying to find yourself. Should I go to school? Should I go traveling? Should I whatever? And by the way, if you're 20 and you're listening to this, this is the best you'll ever look in your entire life. So enjoy this. Enjoy your life. You don't know it, but you do. And I think in your 30s, you're kind of finding yourself, right? You're either getting yourself into a job or a family. When you're 40s, you're pretty much committed to either your career or your family or both. And in your 50s really becomes your legacy years of what am I leaving behind that's going to impact the next generation and that I can make a difference. And these are the years that I'm in right now. I feel like I'm 55 now. I'm just getting my cleats on with my little track spikes, because we've got so many things that we need to do still, and just expanding our teams. And I don't know. I think the youth, if you spend time around youth and you see the future, it keeps you young and it keeps you inspired. I found my purpose. I think if you find your passion, which it is, and your passion is purposeful, then you have all the energy in the world to do that. I'm a hiker. I love to hike. I literally I don't my friends called me Machina because I don't Geena Machina because I don't take a lot of downtime, but that's my personality. I'm high energy, I'm high input, output, and I just learn every single day. And I think that's what I love the most. I'm an instructor and a teacher and a mentor, and I'm a student because I learn from everybody. And I just sponge it in. And I think that's what keeps me grounded. That's what keeps me balanced. And then it just keeps me, and the more time when I hike, I think of all these great things that are possible to give back. And that's exactly what I'm promoting is people that give back. And that's what I want to keep doing for the rest of my life.
Holy cow. You remind me so much of my sister. That's what I'm always like. I just need a little bit of that energy. Give me some of that energy. That's amazing to hear though. There's so much in that. With um I was gonna go somewhere with that, but you know what? Indigenous women. Do you got, especially stepping up, right? Stepping up to leadership, stepping up in general. Is there anything that stands out, especially that you've been all across the nation, right? And coast to coast to coast, seeing so many groups of Indigenous youth, leadership, families, everybody in between. Like, is there any piece that stands out to you about what women can maybe start stepping forward or doing more of, or needing support or looking for support, or any kind of words on that subject?
I think it's really interesting because when we started the kids camp, it was 80% girls and 20% boys. Like we'd only have one or two boys in a class of 25 girls, right? And it was because, and so some a parent's like, no, you're going with your sister or whatever, right? And the girls are more interested in it. And about 20, camp 25 was when it started to get 50-50. And over the last couple camps that I've done, it's more 60-40 on the boys' side. And I think what it is there's a lot of opportunity for women, like tons of opportunities for women, and there's a lot of support for women. I don't see a ton of support for boys and men when it comes to um, entrepreneurism opportunities. Like you don't see a lot of men's only Indigenous opportunity, or women of the year. You don't see like the man of the year type of those, the male entrepreneur business award winner of the year. It's kind of like, well, it's female is okay, but and it's like okay because we've been sort of those minorities for so long, and now we're starting to have our space where you get a lot of powerful women talking. I think my advice to female leaders is we need to really empower the males as well. Like I take a look at the matriarchs that are putting their sons in our programming and our entrepreneur programming. I get it because I have teenagers myself. Get off your computer, get off your game. You're going. They're all voluntold, but they all have the best time doing it. And I think if we empower our males in addition to the females, like I just believe in such equality when it comes to that with the youth. Like I get it as a woman, and being in a man's world that we've had less opportunity for sure. I've seen somebody get paid double after I left a position, getting paid double for doing less work than I did there, being a man, and I get it. And I mean, I don't get it, but it's a reality. But I do see that there's a lot of opportunities for female empowerment. There's lots of nominations. There's lots of champions like myself that really want to mentor and or giving advice and doing inspirational speeches. But I think we also have to raise really strong, respectful men, full of manners and etiquette and protocol, and rise them up and hold them up as well. And
Yes.
I see that with all the champion matriarchs that are filling up my camps with their sons. They have a great time, and they are better people and wiser people afterwards for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. That's amazing. And you're right. I know I got two boys, and that's right. I trying to beat that into them of you're gonna stand out so much because of everything as far as hunting, camping, fighting, very traditional, and then can flip that with their mom, a very emotionally intelligent young man, right? And it's quite unique because we homeschool as well, so it's very important for me to get to do a lot of that with them and lead by example, which is really awesome for me. It made me grow up quite quickly of you got to lead by example if you're gonna you can talk all day but got to lead. And funny enough too, like we get to teach, do a lot of different well, our own curriculums, right? And we have a whole curriculum on entrepreneurship and everything like that. So it's quite fun. So with everything, how can and I can talk to you for days, so I'll leave you alone. I know you're busy and you got stuff today too, but how can people get a hold of you? How can people get their how can communities get their get the youth camps? How can people find you, find more about you, hear you more, all that stuff?
Sure, you can LinkedIn me. My name is Geena Geena Jackson. You can go to Bears Lair dreamcamps.com, and that's bearslairdreamcamps.com, and it'll give you all the information about the Bears Lair kids camps. You can go to bearslairtv.com and find out about the TV show, and my contact information is on all of that, email and phone number. So give me a shout, give me a text, give me an email, give me a LinkedIn, whatever you like. But love to tell you more about our initiatives that we're working on, and if you want to participate.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, this has been great. It's really special. I'm really glad there's people like you out there doing this work. It's important work. I work with nations all across Western Canada, and I can see the importance of this. And it's getting better. It's going to keep getting better, and it's amazing that that you guys are out there doing this. So I really appreciate it. I appreciate your time, and thanks again.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for doing this.
Michael. A pleasure. Love what you're doing. Thank you for having me. Pleasure.